Welcome. Political science students, we are welcome to the third semester political science. As you know, this course for political science major students for UG. This course is divided into 5 units, and unit 3 is forms of government. The instructor for this unit is Mr. G. Ramesh, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, St. Joseph's College for Women, Autonomous, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh State, India. Learning outcomes. The fourth chapter of this unit is presidential forms of governments, merits and demerits. By the end of this chapter, the learner should be able to understanding the structure of the presidential system, analyzing the merits of the presidential system, identifying the merits of the presidential system, comparing presidential and parliamentary forms of government, and assessing the compacting the presidential system on governance and democracy. Content. This unit, that is forms of government, and the fourth chapter is presidential form of government, merits and demerits. The content of the chapter are introduction to the presidential form of government, key features of the presidential system, separation of powers, checks and balances, direct election of the president, fixed term of the president, merits of the presidential system, demerits of the presidential system, and finally conclusion. Now let's go into the lesson and look at the presidential form of government, merits and demerits. Presidential form of government. The presidential system is a form of government where the president is the head of the state and head of the government. This system separates powers between the executive, legislative and judicial branches. A presidential form of government is a system in which the president serves as both the head of the state and the head of the government. The key characteristics of presidential form of government is separation of powers. The president is directly elected and the president has significant executive powers, and the president serves as a fixed term providing stability, and the president has significant executive authority. Key features of the presidential system. In the presidential system, has several key features including separation of powers, checks and balances, direct election of the president, fixed term of the president. The executive, legislative and judicial branches are distinct and independent of each other, ensuring a balance of power. These three branches are separate and independent. Each branch is distinct power and responsibilities. And each branch has the ability to check the power to the other branches. This promotes accountability and prevents abuse of power. The president is elected directly by the people, ensuring that the leader has a strong mandate. The president is elected directly by the people. This provides a democratic mandate for the president. Fixed term of the president. The president serves a fixed term, providing stability and predictability. This allows the president to plan and implement long-term policies. So these features promote a system of governance that emphasizes separation of powers, checks and balances, and democratic accountability. Separation of powers. In a presidential system, the separation of powers is a fundamental principle that divides power among the three branches of executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. In the executive branch, the president and their cabinet responsible for enforcing laws and managing the government. The head of the executive branch responsible for enforcing laws, that was president. And cabinet comprises appointed officials who assist the president. And legislative branch, the Congress in America, composed of the Senate and House of Representatives, responsible for making laws, because the presidential system followed by USA. So Congress or Parliament make laws and exercises oversight over the executive branch. So elected officials who represent the people. And judicial branch, the Supreme Court and the lower courts, federal courts responsible for interpreting laws and ensuring they are constitutional. So interpret laws, Supreme Court interpret laws and ensures their enforcement. The judiciary is independent, providing a check on the other branches. So the separation of power is a presidential system provides a framework for governance that promotes accountability, transparency, and checks on power. Checks and balances. In a presidential form of government, checks and balances are essential to prevent abuse of power and promote accountability. The executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch each and every organ checks to the another. The executive branch, the president can veto laws passed by Congress. The president can veto laws passed by the Congress. It means in America, the union legislature they call Congress. The president can issue executive orders to implement policies. And the legislature can impeach and remove the president or federal judges. The legislature can override the president's veto with a majority vote. The legislature can impeach and remove the president also. And judicial branch checks on both. The judiciary can declare laws passed by parliament or executive orders by the president unconstitutional. So the judiciary can declare laws and executive actions unconstitutional. The judiciary interpret laws and ensure their enforcement. So the system of checks and balances in a presidential system provides a framework for a governance that promotes accountability, transparency, and prevent abuse of power. In a presidential system, the direct election of president is a process where voters directly cast ballots for their preferred candidate. In a presidential system, the president is chosen directly by the people through a popular vote. This ensures that the leader has a strong mandate from the people they represent. So this system in used in countries like United States, France, and the Philippines country. So voters directly elect the president, and the president serves as a fixed term, providing stability, and the winner is usually determined by the majority vote, with some countries using two-round system if no candidate achieves a majority in the first round. So the United States, France, and Philippines, they followed the presidential form of government. So direct election of the president, that was. Fixed term of the president. In a presidential system, the president typically serves a fixed term, which provides stability and predictability in governance. So in fixed term, the president serves as a specified period, usually 4 to 7 years, depending on the country's constitution. Merits of the presidential system. So presidential system offers several benefits, including strong leadership, accountability, stability, and predictability. So in a presidential system, the president is directly elected and has clear authority, providing decisive leadership during crisis. So a directly elected president can provide strong leadership and a clear vision of the country. The president has significant executive authority, enabling decisive action. And the accountability, the president is directly accountable to the people, promoting transparency and responsibility. The fixed term provides a clear mandate and allows for accountability through elections. Stability and predictability. A fixed term provides a stability and predictability, allowing a long-term planning and policy implementation. So the separation of powers promotes checks and balances, preventing abuse of power. So these merits contribute to effective governance, promoting strong leadership, accountability, stability, and predictability. Demerits of the presidential system. A presidential system has several drawbacks, including potential gridlock, limited flexibility, potential for abuse of power. So the separation of powers can be lead to gridlock between the executive and legislative branches. This can hinder effective governance and policy implementation. And fixed term, the limited flexibility in a fixed term can limit flexibility in responding to changing circumstances. The president term may not align with the legislative branch's term. And then potential for abuse of power. The concentration of power in the presidency can lead to abuse of authority. The president may prioritize their interest over the people's needs. So these demerits of presidential system highlight potential challenges, including gridlock, limited flexibility, and potential abuse of power. Conclusion. The presidential system has both merits and demerits, and its effectiveness can vary depending on the context. It offers strong leadership and accountability, but it can also lead to gridlock and potential abuse of power. So a presidential form of government offers a system of governance that promotes strong leadership, accountability, stability, and predictability. While it has its merits such as separation of powers and checks and balances, it also has some drawbacks, including potential gridlock, limited flexibility, and potential abuse of power. So the effectiveness of presidential system depends on various factors, including institutional framework, checks and balances, and a strong democratic values can promote accountability and transparency. And ultimately, the Suitability of a presidential system depends on a country's specific needs, history, and context. What have we learned? Understanding the structure of the presidential system, analyzing the merits of the presidential system, identifying the demerits of the presidential system, comparing presidential and parliamentary forms of government, and finally, assessing the impact of the presidential system on governance and democracy. Thank you.